right, check it out. Zest for Life, aka Fresh Mark Sense. Today I'll be doing a Mancera special. Now, this is something I haven't done in a long time. Why is that? It's because usually when I go over a fragrance, I have to use it in a selection next time rather than doing the same video twice because I don't want to repeat myself because you can watch that in YouTube and that will be another view. So, what I'm doing today is selecting one fragrance out of five for winter. So, what do we need for a winter fragrance? I'll go over what I have in my collection last and the one I'll pick based on that. But you want something for that's long lasting in the weather, in the cold weather, something that projects long enough. Mancera, most of these fragrances project, well, all of them project well because they're Mancera, but they project well in the cold. But you're thinking, if I'm wearing a strong fragrance, if and I'm just choosing one, shouldn't that be good for mixing other fragrances? Because I know if you have as many fragrances as I do, or even a small collection, mixing fragrances, wearing one and layering one on top of another, not mixing, sorry, not mixing in a bottle, but layering fragrances one on top of another is a great way to get the best out of your longevity of your fragrances. You'll be using a little bit of each. Also, you get more variety from your fragrances. So we're picking one fragrance that is the most versatile, very bold, outstanding. It projects a lot and is great for winter. So it'll be versatile for many occasions and be great for layering also in the cold weather. So without further ado, let's get into the Mancera selection. I have five Mancera, which are all oud based because I love the note of oud, and I think it has many different levels in Mancera. They don't just have tame oud; they have very realistic ouds too. And the first one is a powerhouse, starting from the most spicy, outrageous, bodacious, powerful fragrance there is in the Mancera lineup. I think it's Mancera Red Tobacco. I'm just gonna slide in front of the camera for you guys. That really hurt my elbow. Funny bone, directly on candle. Woo. All right, so Mancera Red Tobacco has a very strong, powerful Tom Ford tobacco. Um, uh, sorry, tobacco vanilla sort of tobacco going on, but it also has plum, so it's festive. It's a bit seasonal, like for European climates, they like a Christmassy, festive sense, like plum and potpourri and the like. But this doesn't go into the pine wood. This just goes leather, plum, frankincense. There is, I could smell this all off the top note. But the vanilla is fantastic. When I spray this, let's just get the top note because it's powerful. Plum, saffron, tobacco, vanilla. We got leather, we got oud. And this is a sour oud. This is a sour or traditional oud. So this might be a little bit off-putting for some, but I like how the sourness of the oud is played out and balanced by the sweetness of the plum and the sweetness of the frankincense and the smoky smoke note, vanilla, and I believe there's some kind of alcohol note in there as well, like a rum or something. Well, maybe not rum, it's just the spices that are involved. So a very powerful fragrance that will last 9 hours. Have a great ciliage, great scent trail as well. Very widespread. You could layer this with other leather scents, other deep vanilla scents in winter. If you have Gourlane Extreme Perfume, I was thinking of getting it, but I've got this for plum, and I also have Cannabis Santal, which is sort of my light plum fragrance. So in between the strong plum and the light plum, I don't really need a medium plum, whatever. Uh, I think that sounds a bit weird, but so carry on. This is a strong plum fragrance which would have a very sweet, intoxicating scent trail, and it's a powerhouse. But would you use it every day? Yes, based on the scents that you can mix it with: oud, leather, vanilla, tobacco scents. Any sort of scent that is very fruity, you'd get a tabacala vibe as well, Dior tabacala, which is spicy tobacco with fruits and amber. You'd get that kind of vibe because the plum and vanilla reignites ambery scents. Next one is something that is a traditional oud and doesn't hold back on its traditional Oriental vibes. Oud exclusive by Mancera is a rich oud. This is for the people who say, "Oh, I can't smell the oud. This is not real oud." This is it's got the sour note of the oud. It's that Cambodian oud note, which is it is here because it's dry, woody, bitter, slightly green. It's got that slightly medicinal facet too, which is of the traditional oud. Not just sour, it's medicinal, but it has almost like a frankincense sparkle. And I love the smoke note. It's almost like the bahur. It's not as rich as the bahur. I know it's slightly more rich, but when you spray it, it does it does quite smell like oud bahur burning, which is the oud wood that they use, and sometimes they burn it in the store to get people to understand the scent of oud before they judge whether it's in a fragrance or not. The next one is a Western oud, which is the tame oud, which is the kind of oud that is in a lot of Mancera fragrances when you don't want to overbear the fragrance. You want the oud to dance with the other notes and really play its part as a whole and not dominate the fragrance. This features a heavy cardamom note in the beginning. It reminds me of body ouds, original body ouds like. Don't drop anything. Yes. Original body ouds like Caramel Body Oud by Abdul Samad Al Qureshi. So I get a nice caramel facet from this. Just gonna leave it there. It's a nice bottle. But this opens in cardamom. It has a mixed floral note, which is a pink rosy floral. Very nice mixed floral note. I really enjoy the mixed floral note. The mixed floral note reminds me of 212 Men, Sexy Men, which has a licorice and mixed floral note with sandalwood. This also has sandalwood, but I think the cardamom mixed florals, it's a very versatile, very likable, sweet perfume. And although this kind of perfume has been done before, many times it hasn't been done right. According to me, this is done right. This is fantastic. It's sweet, it's floral. It has the Arab sort of DNA to it. It does have that floral nature and it does project as much whilst being delicate enough to wear formally. So that's a fantastic scent, and it's got caramel, floral, and cardamom facets to the oud. Great for winter. What would I layer it with? Okay, let's go back to the oud exclusive. What would I layer it with? Anything woody, so the oud wood can shine. Or you can go into another direction with ambers. You can add more ambers and resins to this. If you like Van Cleef and Arpels Amber Imperial, I put that in the other place. This is fantastic with, I think, something like violet as well. I would actually wear this with Diesel Only the Brave because this has cypress and amber, and with the oud notes, it'll be fantastic. Very punchy, very punchy. Pow! So, I love that. Ooh. Originally in this fragrance collection, I had a blue and a gold Hadouken up there, so I get a punchy in each. Anyway, the next one is Mancera Precious Oud. Now, This is for the people who like Salvador Ferragamo, Umo, and other creamy floral white creamy scents. This precious oud has a tiramisu note with a slight whiskey note, and the cacao and ice cream like vanilla is fantastic in this, with the oud and white flowers. I think what white flowers are there? Yes, tiara flower, and magnolia. So magnolia gives it a very clean feel. Tiara makes it a bit lotion like suntan lotion. We get the whiskey creeping in, which makes it sweet and slightly resinous, but the boozy touch is now. Sorry, let's not wear directly on top of tobacco. Not tobacco, red tobacco, sorry. Uh, I do like to mix this with fruity scents to make it like tobacco a lot of the time. That's why it's very versatile. Don't want to give anything away. Between the most versatile, it's kind of like these three because you can wear Oud exclusive. It's fantastic for Jummah, which is Friday prayer for Muslims. It's kind of like church for Christians, um, church for Muslims, sorry. And this precious Oud, I love the creamy, cloudy sandalwood with cacao and whiskey. It's just it's edible. It's like a tiramisu cake with a whiskey lacing in it. It's a gourmand. It's a gourmand oud. So very versatile in terms of how would I mix this. You can mix it with any white floral scent and it will give it a tropical vibe. You can mix it with um, you could mix it with an aquatic scent to give it an uplifting, watery oud scent. Some people play with that, like Oud Silk Mood by Mason Francis Kurdijan. That was a very aquatic oud, and I enjoyed that. But I think that this goes well with other creamy scents or decadent scents. You could go the other direction and mix it with the next one and go for two Manceras, which is mixing Precious Oud with Wild Candy. Fantastic perfume. Wild Candy also has an oud note. Hopefully, I'm not mistaken. Last time I checked it, it did have it. But it's a very subtle. It's a very subtle oud note. I think it's just. I think it's just a very. Hmm. On second thought, I'm not actually sure if it has oud in it. I have to be prepared to be wrong as well. I think it does, but I think it's one of those very, very subtle ones, along with the ice cream. Yeah. So this one, I'm going to spray a little bit more. This one is like a naughty dessert. This, it doesn't, I can't remember if it has oud in it or not because I think it's just melange with the other notes, but I don't think it has now on second thought. But I put this in the lineup for winter scents. It's the only one that doesn't have oud in because it's very out there in its gourmand nature. It has a fruity nature of frangipani that just comes out on the first note. Then there's a chocolate cacao note, which is very realistic, like a chocolate ice cream. And then here comes in a vanilla ice cream note. So there's vanilla ice cream, frangipani that tastes like, that smells like mango or apricot. And then there's chocolate. So it's like you have vanilla ice cream with a scoop of chocolate ice cream and some peaches or peaches on top, glazed peaches. You know, some people have syrup peaches. So I mean, not the kind of peaches from a can. It's like a fresh. Well, it is a bit. It is a bit like it's soaked in the peach juice. So it smells like a naughty dessert, but I really like the fact that it projects in winter and the ice cream vanilla it helps the fragrance project. So this really sets you apart in the crowd as it's a unique fragrance. It's a unique fragrance because it catches attention in multiple ways. Once from the seductive vanilla, once from the cacao blooming in the air, and once from that gummy sweet note, which is almost like pineapple gummy bears. So pineapple gummy bears sprinkled on top with the frangipani peaches and a little bit of chocolate and vanilla. It's a bit of a mishmash, but you can smell each note almost like you're tasting it in a mixed bowl of dessert. So how can you mix this? You can mix this with creamy coffee scents. I like Salvador Ferragamo Umo, but I also have a lot of iris scents. I have Givenchy Boise, Givenchy Gentleman Boise, which is iris leather and vanilla, iris leather and vanilla, and that would be. This has a slight leather note as well. I think the wild candy, which smoothens it so and it makes it more versatile. It's very it's sweet but not cloying because it has three directions of sweetness. It has the vanilla, chocolate, and peach, and the fact that it has sweet notes makes the sweetness broken up. It's not sweetness just from one source or one concentrated source. It's from many sources. So, out of all of these, which one would I pick? Well, this I could pick with fruity, amber, tobacco, vanilla scents. This I could do with anything woody, soft violets, anything to soften it or to emphasize the woody note. Other wood notes like cypress are fantastically original. Cypress and oud is a very masculine combination. There's usually a bit of patchouli in between as well, which is quite nice to have the extra woody notes. You have a layered woody fragrance without smelling like, I don't know, a DIY store. It's not like sawdust. Too much sandalwood can smell like that. The next one is Oud Vanilla. How many things can I layer this with? It's fantastic on its own. It's a dumb reach fragrance. That means you could wear this and you would know you'd smell good instantly as soon as you walk out just on its own. For that, I mean, that is worth three mixes really. Three things you can mix it with. 3 points, let's say. This has 3 points. This has about 2 points in terms of versatility out of three. This has 3 out of 3 because it's good on its own, and anything that's good on its own, like this, could be mixed with iris. It could be mixed with. Can it be mixed with fruity scents? Probably not. Um, I'd say iris, woods, and chocolate. Iris, woods, and chocolate. Violet, woods, patchouli, um, leather, and then we go into the precious oud. This could be mixed with gourmand or fruity scents, or even another Mancera like wild candy. But I'm thinking this could also go with blue scents, but I think that the tiramisu may not match, and because it's so good on its own, sometimes it lacks versatility. But I think this could be worn comfortably with things like a blue musk, classy things like Dolce Gabbana Velvet Oriental Musk, which has a spicy Arab facet to it. Something traditional, something a little bit oriental, something eclectic, let's say, not from around here. Okay, and the last one, Wild Candy, it's a superstar on its own. It's got three directions it's going in terms of sweetness: vanilla, chocolate, frangipani, and sweet notes. So you'd have to pick one of the directions and go with it. So if you got vanilla and chocolate, pick it with a vanilla and chocolate. Or you can go the opposite. What is the opposite of vanilla? Which is warm. You might go for something cool and fresh, hmm, like something like, well, it could even be grape or plum or uh, wow, something to mix with something that goes in 3 directions. So with the vanilla, I'd go with ambers. With the chocolate, I'd go with cacao and maybe ouds or leather. And then with the frangipani, you can mix it with something either fruity. I would go into the direction of myrrh because there is a similar sweetness in some citric fruits like pineapple and the like, where at its most syrupy, you can go for myrrh. And I think if in doubt, when you're thinking about mixing with fruity fragrances, amber or vanilla is a great bet because it softens the fruitiness into stops it from being cloying. And amber, it brings out the sweetness, but in a more natural way with a slight hint of orange usually. So out of all of these, it's hard to choose really. It depends on what I have in my fragrance collection, which one I would choose for winter. Well, I'm going to go through it. I do have Salvador Ferragamo Umo. I was thinking about that a lot in my collection, how that would mix with these. So that's fantastic with Precious Oud. I have lots of iris fragrances. So 1, 2, 3. Let's say there's about 4 iris fragrances really. Woody soft fragrances that I mix with it. I have not so many, but I have chocolate, and you can mix chocolate with the oud, but it's very sour. So what did we say? We said violet and woods. And I have some patchouli fragrances that are quite nice actually. Patchouli fragrances go quite nice with oud because you mix the masculine sweet wood of patchouli with the sour wood of oud, and it's not so sour together. Now, the most recent Mancera I bought is Black Noir by Mancera, and that goes really well with tobacco. Because we got tobacco in that fragrance and leather, and this has tobacco and leather, and together it would be a powerhouse fragrance in winter. And would I mix this with cannabis santal? Maybe to get plum projecting out and a sweet plum projecting inwards. With that smoke note would be quite fantastic. So that's almost 2 for that. And for wild candy, I have quite a few blue fragrances I could mix with it, but I'm thinking on its own, or on its own, it's going to be quite heavy, but it will be a great festive treat, very festive, warm treat. So these two are my favorite. And I think to make the decision, I will flip a coin. Either way, it's time to make a decision. Red tobacco or wild candy. It's going to be heads for red tobacco. Let's do it. And oh, it's heads. It is red tobacco. Red tobacco is the winner. Stay fresh, people. And sometimes you got to leave it to chance when you got so many options. But it's best to make a decision at the end and stick with it because that is what confidence is about.